Good morning. Sow to yourself in righteousness, reap in mercy. Break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord, till he come and rain righteousness upon you. While searching for verses about seeking the Lord last week, I came across this one and I noticed that phrase, break up your fallow ground. Fallow ground is land that has been unused for a portion of time. For example, after my grandpa retired, he started farming and he had 3 garden plots. He had one behind his home in a field, he had one to the right of his house, and one to the left. I often wondered why he always had one of those fields or those gardens empty with no plants growing in it. I later found out that he would always let one of his gardens rest during a summer growing season to give the ground a break so that it would gain back some of the nutrients that it lost during the growing season. Now, if you give the ground a break, it will actually be more fertile the next year and give you more crops. So after letting the ground rest, he would plow up that dirt, that fallow ground, that unused ground, and he would use it again. Hopefully that explains what fallow ground is. Basically, it's land that has been left unused. Well, in this verse, it says to break it up. Break up that fallow ground. It is time to seek the Lord. And while thinking about fallow ground being broken up, my mind was reminded of when Grandpa would plow up that unused garden after he had let it rest a year, and he would plow it up to reuse it. The land would be really hard. It was not soft enough to plant crops in, and so he would have to go over it and plow it to break down that soil, break down the hard clumps of the dirt, the grass, and weeds, and make it soft enough to plant a garden. Sometimes our relationships are like that ground. Every relationship in life takes work, and so does our relationship with God. Sometimes we get complacent in our relationship with God and we stop diligently seeking after Him. We stop reading our Bible, or maybe we just read enough to say we did it because we promised God we would do it, but we're not getting anything from it. And we don't pray like we used to, and our relationship starts to get hard. It will take a lot of hard work to get that relationship back to where it is good again. Now, after 18 years of marriage, I will admit that it's not always been easy. Certain seasons of my life brought along different challenges and difficulties, and you have to work at your marriage and at your relationship. The same goes for our relationship with God. Different seasons in a Christian's life bring along challenges. We have different difficulties, and it's during those times that we really need to work on our relationship with God and keeping it fresh and soft. When I realized that my feelings or my emotions and my relationship with my husband are not where they need to be for me to be a good wife, maybe my relationship is stale or it needs a little work, there are some things that I have learned to do to help me. Sometimes I might not be in a good mood to be the right kind of wife that I need to be when my husband comes home from work. So I need to take the time to stop and work how I'm feeling. And I've learned a few steps to help me with that. And if I do those, then by the time my husband comes home, I am happy and thrilled to see him. I feel like it's college days again. These steps help me to get my relationship with my husband back where it should be. Here's some things that I do. First, I think about positive things that I like about my husband. He is faithful to me. He is a very good father. He is a very hard worker. Even when he comes home from work, he is usually working at home till late at night. And he is very neat. I love that. I don't have to pick up after him. He takes care of his own things. He's very neat and organized, and there's so many other things. Then I start thinking about things he has done for me. He takes care of my needs. He's very sensitive to my feelings. He makes time every week for me to take me on a date. He takes care of our family. Then I start to think about things that we've done together. We've gone backpack camping together. We've hiked and camped in many different places. One time we took a drive up to Seattle for our 15th anniversary with stops along the way at Crater Lake and Mount Rainier. We went camping. We've canoed down the Russian River for one of our anniversaries. On and on I can go. We've done a lot of adventures together. But sometimes I still feel that my feelings in relationship are not where they're supposed to, even when I've been thinking about all these wonderful things about my husband. So here's one last thing that I do. I take out a box. I open it up and I pull out and start reading through his old love letters that he gave me back in college or when we first met. And I start looking at pictures of special times when we were dating, things that he wrote to me, or cards that he's given me on Mother's Day or my birthdays. And when I finish reading through all those special things, my heart has finally become soft enough and refreshed because of the love that I know he has for me. And I'm always ready after that to greet him at the door with a big hug and kiss because it makes me so thankful when I stop and think and remember of all the wonderful things that he is to me. And I'm blessed to have a wonderful and faithful husband, and it helps my relationship get to where it needs to be. You might be thinking, all right, Miss Angie, that's fine, but what does that have to do with my relationship with God? Our relationship with God takes work. And when I realize that my relationship with God is not where it should be, I do some things. I don't just let it stay hard and stale. No, I work at getting it where it should be. First, I think about positive attributes about God. He is faithful. His mercies are new every morning. He is a great heavenly Father. He's always there for me. He forgives me when I do wrong. He's compassionate, merciful, gracious, and I could go on and on. The next thing I do is I think about things that God has done for me. This is a great time for me to get out my book of remembrance. I talked about that in a previous devotional. I look through it and I remember how he has provided for my family time and time again. I read of his blessings in that book and it makes me thank him for my family. He's blessed me with a loving, faithful husband and 4 healthy children, a wonderful home. He's given me a great church family. Next, I start to think about things that we've done together. We've been together for 24 years now, God and I. We've gone through Bible college together, 4 pregnancies. He's helped me through 4 childbirths. We've served many years teaching in a Christian school and Sunday school, and he's been with me that whole time. We've seen many people come to Christ and lives changed. After all that, if I think of who he is and what he does for me and what we've been through together, and I still feel that my fallow ground of my relationship with Christ is not broken up enough, if I'm still hard and stale, if my heart is still not tender, I have one last trick. I take out his love letter to me. He wrote it for me, and I start reading about how much he loves me, how he gave me his only son, how he is preparing a home for me to live with him someday. I read of his abundant blessings to those who seek after him, who diligently seek him. I read in his love letter that he wants me to find him. I just have to seek him with all my heart. By this time, the hard, fallow ground of my relationship with God has started to break up again, starting to get soft again. I started to seek him again. And soon, if I search diligently enough, the Bible promises that if I seek him with all my heart, I will find him. He wants to be found. I just have to go and seek after him. Break up your fallow ground. It is time to seek the Lord.